Hi folks, it's Alistair from Bet Your Life Sports Training again. I've been playing around with a new feature that was released in an update to Fairbot the other day. Um, I thought I'd introduce it to you. It seems to certainly show promise. It's called Repeat on Success, and essentially what it does is it takes whatever trade you set up here. When it's successful, in other words the initial opening bet is taken and your offset is also taken, so the trade is successful, it then essentially does the same thing. It puts the same bet in at the same odds with the same tick offset and waits for that to be taken, and it keeps on doing that up to this figure here that you specify for the repeat count. Now why would you want to do that? I'm thinking initially in terms of slow moving markets, so you may find like Cheltenham for example, where prices are moving very very slowly. You could stick in an opening trade and tell it to stick it in again once it gets matched. That's a potential. Or for example, you may choose to do the same sort of thing for the draw in a football match before the kickoff, where the draw is moving relatively slowly. You can do the same sort of thing there. The other interesting thing to note about this is that it works with the fill or kill feature, so that if it working through the various counters, a bet ultimately times out because of the fill or kill setting here. That essentially stops the sequence of repeat on success bets. And when I saw that, I thought, well, that actually may be useful for the in-running scalping technique that I introduced earlier on in this year, and I'm sure you're familiar with now. And one of the things in that, I said that generally speaking, it's best to try and avoid short races, simply because in that in-running scalping technique, you're busy clicking away down here, you're busy watching this area over here for unmatched bets, looking for those either matching or clearing because of the fill or kill setting. You're also watching the green up all button, you're watching the race itself. There's so much happening. That combined with the natural volatility of in-running odds in a short race, where you literally have 30 to 60 seconds to decide what you're doing and getting out and so on and so forth. So this feature here has the potential of removing a lot of the human element involved there, so you don't need to do anywhere near as much clicking down here. You can spend more time concentrating on the race and getting ready to green up or red up all halfway through the race. The one thing about it is that rather than watching this for lay bets to be cleared, either being matched or killed, you also have to keep in mind that there's back bets in there as well as the closing part of the trade, so you have to take that into account. So if you do decide to go back into the market, you have to take that into account and avoid getting involved in those particular runners. One thing I have noticed though with playing with this over the past couple of days is that it certainly reduces the amount of time that you actually spend clicking in the market, and you can actually concentrate on what's happening in the market instead. I've been playing today in simulation mode as I test to make sure this thing works and I understand how it works and so on. And so far I've done all these races and they've all been successful. Okay, that's not just sprints I've been looking at, it's essentially all of them. And I'm quite happy with certainly the potential that it is showing. So that's over £60 in there, based on a lay stake of 50, and that's what, an hour and a half. So that's more than satisfactory as far as the return is concerned. So one of the things we want to do is to give a quick demonstration. So this next race coming up is a 5 furlong race. I'll reduce that somewhat so that we're not in there too long, and we'll see how it goes. Of course, now that I'm recording this live, we'll end up going belly up. But, what do they say? Never walk with dogs and things. Okay, let's just bring up the pictures, and once this goes in running, off we'll go. As I say, it's very early days. I'm only playing with this at the moment, just experimenting, but it certainly is showing quite good promise. The thing I tend to suggest is that, as in the original in-play scalping videos I showed, where I suggest you play around with these numbers and these numbers, same sort of thing here. So you got to weigh up how long each repeated trade is going to be available in the market, and work that out accordingly. At the moment, I'm just playing with a 2, so in essence, each horse has the potential of having 3 trades done on it within the race. The only thing that you've got to watch is if you set this too high, you may have a bet in the market that sits there for quite some time not being taken, and of course the race is progressing, and just before it gets killed it suddenly gets matched, and so it suddenly throws itself into the repeat on success loop, when in actual fact you may be running out of time. So you have to balance the numbers, or certainly that's the impression I get at the moment anyway. But it's a case of playing with it and seeing how it goes. But we'll give it a bash on this race. It's 5 furlongs. This is the shortest race I've done today, I think. Yeah, this is the shortest race, so I've no idea how this is going to go. Certainly with the original in-play scalping race, I would never recommend anyone does it using the original technique. Whilst it can be successful if you're lucky, it's very much a hit or miss coin cost job as to whether you get successful profit from it or you end up with a fairly big hit. So we're just about to go. Let's have a quick look. Same principle though, we really need to get out after halfway around, so we're looking at about 30 seconds to get out of this. So we stick that in there, all the way down. Anything above 20 I don't bother getting involved in. So we can see they're starting to get matched here. Those are the back bets going in. Once these get matched, if they get matched, it'll create another loop, but we're running out of time in actual fact. So we have to be careful. Right, so there's another leg going in. So we're actually past halfway now, so we really should be thinking about getting out. Union Rose is actually in the lead here. So I'm just going to leave this, let this go, but you can see we should have traded out a while back. But Profitables coming up through, so you may get matched out. There we go. So you'll see another bet has gone in again as part of that loop. So at that setting there for a 5 furlong race may actually be too much. As I say, I think this is the first 5 furlong race I've actually looked at. So although that's a profit and I didn't trade out, strictly speaking, if I'd been adhering to the rules, I would have traded out for, I think it was about £4 or £5 loss there. So let's have a look at the next race. See what we've got. Right, this is a 6 furlong race. I'll increase that by a second or so, and we'll try that again. Let me just pause the video just now. Okay, we're nearly ready to go here, just loading the last 2 or 3. 6 furlong race this time. Same principle. It may be that even with this tool, 5-6 furlong sprints are still risky. Some of you have mentioned in comments on YouTube that even doing things like 1 mile 1 mile 2 furlongs are risky, and certainly from what I've seen from these and stuff that I did yesterday, they certainly seem to be a lot more consistent. Having said that, 24 races doesn't really give you an overall picture. I need to practice using this technique for a lot longer, but it certainly seems to be quite promising. If you're able to take an existing technique that's successful on long races and transfer them to shorter races, it means that you're not ignoring a whole host of races during the day, of course. It gives you more opportunity to build up the profit during the day. So that's certainly something that may be worthwhile. Okay, just another couple to go in. So as I say, you still need to, with this additional variable, and you need to experiment with regard to offset, repeat count, and the filler kill setting. The same sort of things I was saying in the in-play scalping races with regard to the offset figure and the filler kill figure. Those still apply, but as I mentioned earlier, this throws another variable in there that may influence the figure that you choose there. So we're off and running, so we just stick in all the bets that we want. Again, similar to the previous videos, you don't need to get involved in every single race here. You'll see here that we're actually doing quite well at the moment. We're busy rattling through here. We could have traded out for about a $5. Generally speaking, with this, using a £50 lay stake, once I get past 5, I bomb out anyway. That's a 10% profit, a 10% return on investment, which is fine. Do that every race, and it's a nice return during the day. But you'll see there, it gives you a little bit more freedom, a little bit more flexibility in terms of what you have to concentrate on the screen. Or certainly that's what I'm finding. And I'm not concentrating on these numbers bouncing up and down. I'm not concentrating quite so much on this area here, and I'm able to watch the racing a little bit, which is what I normally do anyway in longer races. But in the shorter races, there's just too much happening to take in what's happening in the race, and that's what makes it difficult to see what you're doing. So anyway, there you have it. There's that new feature, repeat on success. I don't think it's just in running that it would be useful for. As I mentioned earlier, things like slow moving markets where you can enter relatively early in the event once the market opens, and put in some trades and get it to repeat those. As long as the market's a relatively slow moving market, you should be fine. So we've wound up with, I won't bother trying to add all that up, but it's in the order of £70-ish, which is fine. After 2 hours, less than 2 hours, I'd be quite happy with that. Okay, thanks very much for watching.